Well, good morning, Morro Bay. Today is Thursday, June 22nd, and I would like to call to order the monthly meeting of the Tourism Business Improvement District, establishing of a quorum of our board members present here today. From my right to left, we have Stephen Allen, Charlie Yates, Sean Green, and Taylor Newton, myself, Aaron Graves. For the record, it's about 9:05 a.m., and we will move things along. I'd like to open the microphone up to public comment. If anybody has any public comment regarding items not on the agenda, or perhaps they cannot stay for the full agenda and would like to address something now, you're welcome to do so. Seeing no public comment, we will close that portion and move on to the third item, which is an approval of the Tourism Business Improvement District Advisory Board meeting minutes. If you recall, we did have some technical administrative difficulties. We've now caught up on all of those minutes, so you will see the regular meeting minutes for the March 16th meeting included in the public notice packet, the special meeting minutes from April 6th, the regular meeting minutes from April 20th, as well as our last meeting, May 18th, regular meeting. All of those are in the packet. I have no doubt the entire board has reviewed those diligently, and we'll be looking for a motion. Excuse me. Is there any public comment on those minutes? Seeing no public comment, does the board have any discussion on the minutes? If there's no discussion, then we'll be looking for a motion to approve them as they.
I'd like to make a motion to approve them as written. This would be all for March 16th, April 6th, April 20th, and May 18th.
I'll second that motion.
Brilliant. All in favor? Aye.
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 Oppositions? Abstentions? Motion passes 5-0. Minutes will go into record. Fourth item on the agenda, a review of the TOT report by our tourism manager. This is a receive and file and perhaps a brief discussion.
Good morning, board. So I wanted to go over our TOT. Of course, it was up for the month of April, which is great. Some factors that we want to take into account for that, of course, is mainly spring break and Easter fell into April, which reflecting back, we talked about in March, that March was flat, which partly was because spring break the year before was in March. So that's the big shift in one of the April numbers. Overall, I'm thrilled with how we're trending up, considering the prognosis of Highway 1 being closed and, everybody, with the doom and gloom of, it's going to severely hurt us. I'm thrilled with how our numbers are looking. Even with March being flat without spring break, to me, that's a huge gain with Highway 1 being closed and losing that huge holiday. So I think our numbers are looking really, really good. RevPAR is up to $85 over last year was $73. ADR is at $119, and in 2006 it was $118, and our occupancy rate was 71%. Last year was at 62%. So good numbers overall. Everybody happy with us? Okay.
Very much so, yes. Good. For us to exceed our April year-over-year in both occupancy and rate is a beautiful thing. Mm-hmm. So good to have board.
Any questions?
Jennifer, when was the Cal Poly graduation? Is that the first weekend in May?
Graduation it just happened.
That was just last week.
Just happened.
It just happened.
Okay, got it.
But there was, in April, we did have back to school. There was like a back to school parents weekend. It's called Poly Royal that happened in there. So that did definitely, but that's there every year. Every year we have that.
And interesting enough, Stephen, from this last weekend, with it being Cal Poly graduation, even on the Expedia extranet, there still were a surprising number of vacancies around town on Friday night. We noticed a lot of our fellow hoteliers kept their rate pretty high and were waiting for the last-minute bookings, which is not a bad strategy to maximize inventory. Last year at this time, I think they booked up a little sooner, so people held out. I'm very curious to see what those June numbers will be when we get them in 6 weeks.
One thing to note is that the Cal Poly graduation is the same weekend this coming year, 18, and so it's just something to plan for. We held rate as well and didn't sell out like a lot of folks, but it was really a great weekend, Father's Day weekend in Cal Poly, and beautiful weather. So.
Yeah.
Any further discussion, board? All right, this is just a receive and file. Is there any public comment on the TO report? Seeing no public comment, we'll move on. Item number 5, the marketing and public relations update by our tourism manager. Go ahead, Jen.
Okay, you have your packet that we get every month from Mental Marketing. I'm going to go over the highlights on this. We have so much to go over with the grants and scholarships. I'm not going to dive into this really deeply, but I'll go over the important things. On the very first page, you've got our stats for the website, and you'll see that it's growing. The unique visitors overall were up 4% year over year. Jackrabbit searches also up 40%. So our numbers are looking really good, which translates back to, obviously, bookings as well. One of the things on that top page, this is page 21 that I'm on, is if you look at our paid advertising stats, our digital impressions were 25 million, which is really great, and we moved over 90,000 of those people to morrowbay.org. So really good numbers. I'm thrilled with how they're tracking. Part of that, I think, is tracking high because we have our SEO now in place, and this is month 5. This would have been month 5, and so now we're starting to see that ball rolling and really kind of working well together. So it's a good thing. It's all good. The campaign that's currently running is the midweek promotion, which you have in your book, so we don't have to go over that much. And then the Amgen, I just wanted to briefly mention the Amgen campaign that ran during this time. This was strictly to fill an odd amount of rooms that we had left during the race. It was approximately 200 rooms that we still did not have full. So we did a really strong geofence, which is just people coming into the county during that weekend, trying to grab them and get them to stay in Morro Bay over Pismo during the race. It did pretty well. We had 226 clicks over to the promotion and to the website looking at rooms. What I'll do in July is I'll come back with a complete Amgen package for you to see how we did overall. Our room bookings were really good, so I want to put all that together for you. I just didn't want to do it this month with everything that we have going on, okay? And then the last part of the packet is all of their backup for PR. So they got some really great stories out. One of the things that I like, this is Daily Meal. This is a visiting journalist that we've been kind of schmoozing and trying to get to come to Morro Bay for probably 8 months, and she finally came. She stayed at the Anderson Inn and had a really good trip, and her blog is really, really well received. It does really good, so we were really happy with her articles that came out. And then some of the interesting things that were unexpected during the Amgen race, the city new cycling map had just come out, and we got a call immediately from LA Times, of all things, and they wanted to publish our bike map, which is absolutely huge. So that was a real shock to us. It was nice, and from that we had all different press come out. KSBY posted the map, and I think they were just trying to tie something in biking with Amgen. So it was just really good timing on all that coming together. That was nice. So the midweek promotion, I wanted to just mention this really quick because this ties in with the press that went out. So Mental Marketing's group does a monthly press release that talks about everything that's going on for the month. And in this case, it's the midweek promotion. So we are running this campaign. This is a paid campaign that we're running for midweek. Of course, pushing what we want is filling those midweek rooms going into summer, not promoting weekend stays in July, promoting strictly, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, possibly Sundays as well. And I put this here because I wanted you to see right after that the press that got picked up from the press release about midweek was really astronomical. I was really happy with what we got. Santa Monica Observer picked this up, PR Newswire, and LA Biz, and they picked up the complete press release plus our photos, which is really great. And we're actually seeing this more of a trend because there's such a huge urge for content with all the papers going social. They just are constantly wanting content, and they're not going through and rewriting it or hiring writers. They're just pushing it out as they get it because they just need it so badly. So that's good for us. It's a really good thing. So the exposure on it is really good, and it pushes back into all of our midweek promotion. Same thing, these are more articles that ran for the midweek. This is on Market Watch, Silicon Journal, and the San Francisco New Times, and then Yahoo also picked it up, which is unusual for us. They don't usually pick up for us, so that was good to see. couple more stories there I just wanted to put up for you. The one on the left, the look back at 2016 travel tips, this was a group that came out and they went all up and down the coast. And they did talk about Morro Bay in their headlines, so that's always a good plug for us. And then Grandma's Briefs was a blogger that we hosted here. I know, but her site does really well. I can't tell you about the name, but she does really, really good, and she did a great story on Morro Bay, and she stayed here for several days talking about multi-generational travel. You guys like that?
I'm not going to forget that name.
I know. Can I answer any questions on Mental Marketing Express and what they're doing, Sean?
Yeah, I had a question about the when we see their metrics that they present at the end of every month. Everything we're kind of told is that everyone's hurting for content. Total traffic is increasing. Every metric points to up. Is there some metric that they can come up with rather than compare our impressions month over month or year over year, but to compare those to general internet traffic or California internet traffic or something that is outside of Morro Bay metrics, so that we have if the natural trend is 6% and we're increasing by 4%, you see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So just to make our dollars go the farthest it can, we require that support by SoCal, our county compadre, and also Visit California on a larger scale from a California side. So if you'd like, I can start reporting those numbers. They are not as quick to get the numbers to me. There'll probably be a lag time on it, but they do that. They reach out really strongly so we can show those numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking or maybe one column next to it, if there were just maybe 1 or 2 or 3 metrics that we could compare rather than just compare it to ourselves.
I'd be glad to look into it. I don't know if the months will compare up, if it'll be the same month to month.
Okay.
Since they run a little different, but I'd be glad to look into it, sure.
Cool.
Any other questions or comments, board? Sean, it's actually funny you say that because Matt Wilkinson, he is the chair for the SLO DMO, and he and I were just having this exact conversation about metrics are all over the place. It's easy to rate something as up or down depending on what you compare it to. These targets are moving so frequently, we're all constantly scurrying to stay up and figure out what is the comparison. So our natural DMO comp sets would be Napa, Monterey, Santa Barbara. We can compare those, but that's going to be at a county level. It's really hard to drill down at a city level. Great question, and we're always struggling to kind of pull that information to the table. But at a SLOCAL perspective, we can absolutely start doing that. Is there any public comment on the marketing presentation? All right, no public comment. This is a receive and file. We'll move on to the next bigger ticket items here. This is item number 6, the 2017-18 fiscal year sponsorship opportunities. The recommendation here from staff is for the TBID board, all of us, to approve 3 sponsorship opportunities, which is the Avocado Margarita Festival, the Dusted Dawn Triathlon, and the Morro Bay Triathlon, with a $5,000 sponsorship for each, totaling $15,000 as a whole. From here, there will be discussion about the topic. Jen?
Public comment.
Excuse me, what? Oh, excuse me, sorry. Let's open this up to public comment then.
Thank you. My name's Robert Davis. I live in Morro Bay. And I just want to ask if during the presentation, Jennifer could explain the difference between sponsorships and grants, because I'm not clear on that. I may be the only person in Morro Bay who doesn't understand that. So, thanks.
Actually, that's a very fair question. So, thank you for positing it. Is there any other further public comment? Seeing no public comment, that's probably an appropriate way for Jen to start off her discussion with us here, is the distinction between sponsorship and grant.
You bet. I'd be glad to explain it. So last year, kind of coming into this slate, I was just given kind of a big ball of grants. And when you look at the group that applied for grants, some of them were for-profit groups, some of them were nonprofit groups. It gets a little confusing when you're talking about general funds and you're looking at for-profit groups in a grant situation. And so when I redid the budget this year, I specifically did a separate line item for sponsorship. Really good example of sponsorship is the Amgen was a sponsorship. So keep in mind, it's things like that. It's a situation where we're trying to garner that event in Morro Bay or keep that event in Morro Bay, and they're usually substantial events that have good legs. They do well for hotels, and we want to keep it here. It's different than a grant where you're looking at nonprofits mainly that are looking to have help, and they're not, making money on their events. They're really looking to have help to have a strong event in Morro Bay that benefits, their nonprofit as well as other people in Morro Bay. One of the sponsorships that was lost many years ago was the Oyster Festival. So that was a grant situation, and now it's in Avila Beach, and it's a very strong, strong event. So that's kind of the type of thing when we talk about sponsorship that we're looking at. They're in a separate category from my budget. They are not the grant funds. These are TOT funds that go into sponsorship. So our concert series is a sponsorship. Amgen was a sponsorship. Same with these. I'm recommending for sponsorship for the same reason. I know 3 of you were on the board last year, and when we got into grants, we had a huge conflict with the Morro Bay Triathlon Group because they are a for-profit entity. And so this just made better sense, looking at it and really trying to dive down and figure out how do we make this a better situation. It's really to move them out of grants and move them into a sponsorship situation. So does that explain it well enough? Yeah?
Yeah, to a degree. And do you, would you put a distinction there with a greater return on investment with the sponsorship opportunity where grants might be lost leaders, but they benefit the community as a whole? Absolutely.
Usually sponsorships are events that are well established, that do well, or something that we want to bring into the market that does not have the backing of a local group like our concert series.
Okay. To anticipate another possible comment that might be out there in the audience, is there a specific metric we're using in-house to distinguish a sponsorship from a grant, a certain ROI we're looking for, or is it more of a feel for it as it would stand in the community?
It's more of what I personally know will help the hotels. So Avocado Margarita, perfect example. They did not apply for a grant last year. This year, talking with the Chamber, they applied for a grant. I recommended that instead we do it as a scholarship, and part of that I'm requiring tickets for hoteliers. So it's giving us, and also we're getting sponsorship money to them. So it's a win-win situation for both of us, putting them in a sponsorship instead of just giving them a grant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Does that, for public comment's sake, would that be a sufficient explanation? We want to make sure communication is key here, that everybody understands as we proceed forward. I'm getting nods of approval. Excellent. All right. So then moving forward into the 3 sponsorship opportunities here, Jen, you generated a staff report with your thoughts on this. Do you want to talk us through this?
Yep, sure, I'd be glad to. So there are 3 different events that I would like to look at for sponsorship this year. First is the Avocado Margarita, which I just briefly touched on, and the second are 2 events by All Out Events, which is the group that do the Morro Bay Triathlon. So first, to talk about Avocado Margarita, they did not apply for grant in 2016. As I mentioned, what I have negotiated with the Chamber is part of our sponsorship is to get hotel tickets for 500 tickets is what we're going to get. So I was hoping to get 1,000 tickets, but we came to agreement on 500 because it's a lot for them. It really is. So for the money, I'm very happy with getting those tickets. I think it'll help us push rooms. Last year, we did not do that. Like I said, they did not apply for a grant, and at the last minute, probably the last 10 days, we were a little shy on our room count, and so the Chamber came forward and gave us 100 tickets, which we used to promote online to press up rooms. So it did well last year, which is why I wanted to come back and make this a substantial push this year through more tickets. The second one is the Dusk to Dawn Triathlon. So last year, I'm sure you all know, the Morro Bay Triathlon does great with rooms. It's a Sunday event. It books rooms. These are people that come into town for several days, and they spend money. They're riding, very expensive bikes, and they have the ability to really bring that group of people that we want. And so I reached out to them, and I said, I would really love you guys to come back with the second event. And so they did. They came back with this option of the Dusk to Dawn Triathlon. So this is, on my request, they brought back a second event. So you're talking about going back out to their same database that they are tried and true with, that does really well and fills rooms, and they're going to go back out and push it for this second event. So I would recommend doing 2 sponsorships on both of those events as well. Behind the staff report, you'll see the Avocado Margarita did a really nice outline for the event, talks about the cost on it. And then on All Out Events, they've also got a letter from Kristen Horowitz, that's one of the co-owners of All Out Events, and she also linked the website. That they put the video that's on there year-round, but I'll change that out to be our new video up there for Morro Bay.
Discussions, board? Thoughts?
Kind of a general question. Is it atypical for people trying to get sponsorships and grants not to be here kind of pitching their event, or is it mostly usually just based off of staff recommendations? Like it's $10,000 that were they invited here?
I did not ask them to come this time because it was a sponsorship.
Okay.
Last year I did ask them to come as a grant awardee, yes.
Board, what are our thoughts going to the triathlons here on them being effectively 2.5, 3 weeks apart? I think that time of year is lovely weather, and we do realize it's shoulder season, so it would be nice to increase our occupancy. But do the same racers want to come to the same region 3 weeks apart from one another? Yeah, of course, Taylor.
I'm an avid gym addict, and I've been an athlete my whole life. And
you look great.
Thank you. I try really hard. And what I know is that, like a lot of stimulating physical addictions, you want to do it again. And I mean, I know the people that do the triathlons, and they love that stuff, and they do it over and over again. And so my general feeling is that, like, if you're in that recreational area of life, and I think you do it as much as possible. That's my opinion.
I'm a triathlete myself, and I think it's great to bring in another event and to create another event, especially with a well-established group. I spent probably 10 minutes trying to figure out what Dusk to Dawn is and trying to find anything about their event, and it was next to impossible, and now it's mid-June. So I love the Morro Bay Triathlon, but it's June 22nd, and there's an Evite kind of thing to sign up for that, and there's not a lot of detail, so I worry that it's kind of in the last minute fireworks realm of events. So I'd be a little bit nervous about that particular event, all for the other two.
Jennifer, could you confirm the dates? What I'm seeing here is Avocado Margarita, September 9.
Is that right? Correct.
Dawn to Dusk would be October 21st.
Correct.
And then Morro Bay Triathlon would be November 5th.
Right. Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
You know, on the Dusk to Dawn event, I hear what you're saying, Sean, and they do need to upgrade their website and what they're doing with it. We're a month behind on our grants, so keep that in mind. That's on us. You know, we had to wait till budgets were approved, unfortunately. But this was on my request for them to bring something back because we need that off-season event. I mean, we have to grow those. And what I like about this is it's kind of sexy. So for triathlons, something different. It's overnight. It's kind of cool. I think it will bring people back, even though there's an event, you know, right by it for the Morro Bay Triathlon. That's what I like about it, is that it's not just another triathlon. If it was, I would say no, you know.
And it's towards the tail end of the season, so those that are peaking should still be performing pretty well. So, sure. And from our cases at TBID here, our DMO manager here requested another event from them. They brought it to you. So effectively puts us in a place we really should sponsor this. Is that your take, Jen?
I hope so.
Realistically. I mean, you requested it.
It's your call, but it was my request, yes.
Okay. Board? Any other further discussions? We have 3 events here. looking for sponsorship on all of them. Are we ready to make a motion? Feel free. Excuse me, actually, is there any public comment out there? We want to continue to promote public comment as much as possible. Seeing no public comment? Okay. Oh, we're vacillating. All right.
Thank you for hearing public comment on this. Erica with the Chamber of Commerce. Just, I'm sure that you guys have seen this, but we did do an excellent sponsorship report last year that we sent out. So I just wanted to highlight a few points from the Avocado Margarita specifically. 74% of attendees for that festival come from out of the state or out of the county. For economic impact, we did an exit survey last year through SurveyMonkey. We had over 400 responses and asked about spending behavior, where they were staying, things like that. So we're data collectors for sure. We found that outside of the festival and accommodation, 47% of attendees spent at least $50. 31% spent more than $100 per person in the local economy. So I think it does have ripple effects, this festival. Just a reminder, we had over 9,000 people attend last year. Lodging experienced 90% occupancy over that weekend. And I think that's all I have. But if you guys have any questions for me, I'm here in the audience. So we're very excited about this year. We've got lots planned in a larger footprint. We have a Grom zone this year. We've got a grove within the festival where we're highlighting avocado dishes. We're doing a Find the Farmer exercise. We're doing a text to vote your favorite dish. We've got circus performers this year, like aerialists and things. I mean, we're really pushing the envelope, and we're exploring new markets. We've purchased advertising in 805 Living magazine. We're really looking at kind of tying in with what the city's tourism is doing in terms of south, with the Highway 1 closure. We're trying to be really smart with the way we're applying our dollars. So we're looking at exponentially growing our reach through tourism and also through Visits Locale, which is looking at the same region. So it'll be 3 hits. So that's all I got. But I'm here for you.
That's phenomenal comment. Thank you, Erica, very much. So you said 9,000 people in attendance, and it was 74% of them were out of the area? Staying with us, so we're looking at 6,500 people booking rooms. Average of 2 people per room is 3,500 rooms over the course of the week, and that's outstanding.
And to add to what she just said, remember they've added a second event that is on a grant for that Friday, the Taste of the Grove. So they did that with the intention of helping growing rooms, which is really nice. So that does help our 2-night stay versus a 1-night stay.
Excellent. Go ahead.
Real quick, on the 2 triathlons, we know from the past that we get hotel room bookings at a good profitable rate. For the Morro Bay Triathlon, do you expect the same kind of thing for the Dusk to Dawn Triathlon?
The same caliber of people. I don't know that the first year it'll have as many people, Taylor, but I think it'll be the same caliber. And I can set up parameters of what I want for them to do for us.
As far as the type of race it is, do you think that there would be a difference in people staying the night? Like, does the Morro Bay Triathlon built to make people stay the night at a greater rate than this new triathlon?
I don't think so. I think they'll still stay.
Is there any further public comment? Seeing no public comment, I think, board, unless we have further discussion, we'll be looking for a motion.
I'd like to make a motion.
Absolutely.
I make a motion to approve the 3 sponsorship opportunities: Avocado Margarita Festival, Dusk to Dawn Triathlon, and the Morro Bay Triathlon, with a $5,000 sponsorship for each, for a total of $15,000.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second on that motion?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Oppositions? Abstentions? Motion passes 5-0. Excellent. All right, 7th item on the agenda here. It's the 2017-2018 fiscal year grant application review and approval/denial process. There's a recommendation here from staff is for the TBID board to review the recommendations made by the staff and the grants subcommittee and approve the funding that best supports hoteliers and tourism. I know Ms. Little and the subcommittee spent a lot of time reviewing this information and definitely upgraded this presentation from last year's, when I know you were kind of thrown in the mix, Jen. This is a phenomenal Excel spreadsheet here, graph sort of outlining everything to allow us to understand the full scope of this. So I'll let you take it away.
Do we need to do public comment to start, or are we? Okay.
That would be very appropriate.
Okay.
Is there any public comment regarding the grant application process? Seeing no public comment. Do you have a thought, sir? I mean, honestly, if you'd like to interject something.
No, I'm specifically waiting for discussion
Harbour
on
Festival.
and on the Light of Hope Parade.
Absolutely. Okay. We'll circle back around to you. And just for general reference, if anybody has comments on this, we're an intimate group here. We want to try to get this right. So always feel free to just raise your hand, come up, and we'd like to have a conversation. Thank you.
So I want to talk really briefly about the money and where this came from, and so all of us are on board with it. This is general funds that is moved over from City Council specifically for grants and emerging opportunities. The emerging opportunities is kind of a concept that I came up with the idea of looking at current events that are struggling or need a little more help. And you'll see as we go through it, I'll kind of explain what I mean, or the opportunity of bringing a new event in. So it could be either one. In many cases, it's current events that are well-liked and do well in Morro Bay, but they just need a little bump up. So what I would recommend, you do have all the applications, and you're more than welcome to ask questions. We can go through anything on their applications, but, it is 200 pages. So I'm hoping that we can just go over the highlights of each one and field questions as we need them, and we'll just kind of work through them. Does that sound good?
Sounds perfect. Let's start at the top of the chart and just work our way down one by one. At the end of each of these, I will open up to public comment in case there's a specific thought. While we have many events to look at here, we do realize every one of these is precious and important, so we want to give it the consideration that it deserves.
Okay, great. So starting on page 56 is the event grid, and the gold colors are community events, blue is emerging opportunities, white is what I'm recommending to not fund, and then green are the few that we've moved to sponsorship. Okay? Oh, I'm sorry, page 55. Starting on page 55. I was out of order. So the very first one that we're going to talk about is Taste of the Grove. This is also a Chamber of Commerce event. I mentioned this a few minutes ago. This is the event that they've started Friday nights. Maybe Erica can give some more insight on total people they expect. Last year, it was absolutely amazing. It's a really high-level food tasting and wine tasting event that's held up in the Avocado Grove, and it was awesome. It was really awesome. It was a great opportunity for us to get a high-level guest to come in for 2 nights versus just the one night for the Avocado Margarita on Saturday. So they are looking for a grant of $3,000 this year. Last year they requested $5,000, so they've asked for less, and I'm recommending, or staff is recommending, to fund the $3,000.
Thank you, Jen. Last year, did because $3,000 this year as opposed to the $5,000 last year, did they request $5,000 last year and we trimmed it to $3,000?
No, last year they requested $5,000 and we gave them $5,000.
Okay, understood. Erica, did you have any thoughts on this event? I heard Jen mention you, if you'd like to give us perspective.
Thank you. Yeah, we love this event. We're really excited about it. It's beautiful. It's intimate. I have a few stats again. We did the exit survey with those attendees again. 94% of the respondents said that the event met or exceeded their expectations and that they would attend again. For this event, more than 60% of attendees came from outside of SLO County. We met people from Las Vegas. We met people from LA. This is our first year. They found us on Facebook. So we have really effective social media marketing for this. Yeah, it's just amazing. But it's really small, and we want to keep it intimate. It needs to be an experience. It needs to be something that really truly reflects our special place on the Central Coast, and that's why it's in this, kind of off the beaten path venue. You're in an avocado grove. You're by a packing shed. It's beautiful. We've got music, and then the caliber of food is really high quality. So it's a foodie kind of an event. We saw especially young professionals, 30 to 55. Some from the Lower Bay area, but again, where we're pushing down to the southern part of California, we're hoping to get a little bit more of that coming through. And we do have some tickets held on reserve. The max capacity for this is 200 all in, but we did hold 25 tickets on reserve that we would be happy to partner with hotel guests to kind of encourage those overnight stays. And each admission to Taste of the Grove comes with a complimentary admission to the next day, so we really are trying to extend that stay overnight. But I have more, anything you guys want to know, I'm here.
You said the max capacity is 200. What was it last year?
We did the same.
You hit the 200 mark?
We did hit the 200 mark, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that accounted for 1 night of guest stay over or 2 nights?
Well, with the extension to the next night festival, we believe that it was 2 nights, yeah, and we asked. So,
Okay.
yeah, it's 2 nights. And it's a different group, it's a different type of consumer, I think, who's coming. That it's a food and wine kind of festival consumer, more high-end.
Okay.
Yeah, the food's beautiful. The tickets are $75. Yes.
Okay. That is a good demographic to tap into. Charlie?
Yeah.
What are we doing, working with tourism in getting editorial for the event, getting a food writer, a food critic?
We had Catherine Marks Hardesty was there last year. So
I'm looking for Sunset Magazine, Condé Nast, and of course we all are.
We can reach out. Actually, it's funny you said that. Amra from 805 Living just sent me an email this morning with a potential partner who's interested in kind of coming together with Taste of the Grove, and I think it's a cruise partner. I haven't looked all the way into it, but people are interested.
Yeah, there were some good articles that came out last year, for the first year event, but I'm just thinking that this event is so great that it could make some great editorial in a big way, and food and wine publication.
We can push that, and that can be the next push for sure. Okay.
Mic was off. Thank you very much, Erica. Is there any further public comment on this? Seeing no public comment, is there any further board discussion? I think to keep this real clear, Lori, correct me if I'm wrong, should we make a motion and vote on each one of these as we move along? Okay, excellent. No further discussion, board? Seeing none, I believe we'll be looking for a motion then.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the $3,000 grant for Taste of the Grove.
Thank you, Mr. Yates. Second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oppositions? Abstentions? Motion passes 5-0. Next one on the spreadsheet here is the Avocado Margarita Festival, which we just covered that from a sponsorship perspective. So is there any reason to address this? Can we just move past it?
I think you just need to vote that you agree to not award a grant.
Oh.
Correct? Because they applied for a grant? Yeah, so you need to say that we recommend to not approve for a grant.
Is there any public comment on what Ms. Little just mentioned? To clarify, this was a grant process before. Now we've already agreed to sponsor it for $5,000, so we're removing it from the grant process and pushing over the sponsorship column. We've already done so and awarded it the $5,000. No public comment? All right. Taylor, you had a question?
Do we need to make a motion to move forward?
It sounds like it. Yeah, we're looking for a motion then to not approve it for a grant.
I make a motion to not approve it for a grant since we already approved it for sponsorship.
Excellent. Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oppositions? Abstentions? Motion passes unanimous. Next one on the agenda is the Morro Bay High School volleyball. The recommendation here is to fund $1,525, a very specific amount, towards food as requested, allowing the boosters and student athletes to earn additional funds as needed.
Correct. This is a new event for them is what I wanted to mention. So their events do really well. They have the wrestling tournament. I'm sorry, the basketball tournament is new. So I'll correct myself. This one has been there for 2 years. So I would just recommend to approve what they requested, which is the $1,525.
Okay. Is there any public comment on this? Seeing no public comment, we will move back to the board for discussion. Board, please note, last year they did, now Jen, correct me on these columns here, we showed last fiscal year in this column here, $2,750. Was that the request or was that what we awarded them last year?
That's what was awarded last year.
Okay.
So the subcommittee talked about it a lot, and the grants came in very specific that they want money for the food, and the subcommittee said, that's great, let's really push the kids to go out and get money beyond that, instead of just give them a larger lump sum. So, of course, it's your decision, but that was what their recommendation was, to just give them exactly what they asked for.
All right.
Yeah.
Board discussion?
Not specifically about this one, but I think philosophically it's a big opportunity for the city. I was talking to outgoing city manager about this, and youth sports weekends are big money spenders and hotel stayers, and any opportunity we have to promote that type of event over a weekend is a good thing.
Excellent comment, Sean. I've had similar discussions myself as well. It's good, wholesome family activities and can promote a multi-night stay. Any further discussion, board?
So forgive me, enlighten me here. I love volleyball, but hotels would be contributing to this because it would hopefully bring in guests staying at an invitational tournament from other areas, correct?
They do, yeah. So we pretty much fill most of the hotels during the high school events. The difference that we see with the team sports is they don't come into town to kind of mingle around and shop as much, where the wrestling tournament, they're all over the place. I mean, you can't walk around Morro Bay without seeing a wrestler because they're individual sports, so they have a time frame that they can all leave the gym. But they fill hotel rooms really well, Stephen.
And this is going on the same weekend as the Avocado Margarita Festival?
Correct.
Yeah.
Further discussion, board? Seeing no discussion, I believe we'll be looking
I'd like to make a motion to approve this.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oppositions? Abstentions? Excellent. Next one, Surfboard Art Festival. They're requesting $2,500 as we did award them the same amount last year. Is there any public comment on this event? Seeing no public comment. Or Erica, please. If you have any thoughts to give us, we'd love more information up here.
Yeah, we've come in as, the Chamber has come in as supporters of this festival this year. So we are going to do some of the advertising, press releases, media relations. We're going to be organizing their debut event, or when they kind of exhibit all the boards in one place and then start to place them around. Walter Heath, who runs this festival and is also a chamber board director, and I have talked quite a lot about this event. It does drive traffic into businesses. You know, he's got the board sponsorships around, and we've talked a lot about how to partner with wine alliances in our area so that we're placing boards outside of Morro Bay businesses, so that we're driving traffic to this area. It is a long event. You know, it's an art exhibition, but it's bookended by two kind of events that we can most certainly talk about and promote and get out there. And so it's kind of trying to use the chamber's reach and our staff resources to tell the story of this festival and to get the word out and to drive traffic here. And it does kind of align well with some other events that happen during the season, during November and December, like the Lighted Boat Parade and things like that. So he's seeing it as a kind of not a hijacking, a partnering.
Now, the layout of this, Erica, is this sort of following the Cal Parade model to a certain degree of maps and locations scattered around and so forth?
Yeah, I think so. You know, I remember seeing the Cal Parade when I was in Madrid in like 2006. You know, so I think it's a great model to use. It's been around for a long time. I don't know that it's been perfected yet. You know, I think this is their third year. Is this their third year? Mm-hmm. Fourth year? So I think it needs some legs to stand on and a little bit more community support so that we can really try this and push it in a different way. So we're excited about it. You know, our staff is designing collateral for it and starting to get the word out.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Taylor, you have a question?
Erica?
Yep.
So from a hotelier point of view, the Chamber being business driving oriented and this event being business driving oriented, is there any evidence that the event, the long term of the event, or whatever, however you want to classify the event, does it bring hotel stays?
I can't speak to statistics because I'm newly on board and I did not write the grant application. What I can say is that we love events, and we like parties. So the event that will happen in late September, I think we can push out and make it really exciting. I think it's happened at Forever Stoked. I went to the event last year. And I think with a little bit more planning and a little bit more outreach, we could make that a thing. So we really need to work in partnership with Chris and Charlie over at Forever Stoked to make sure that it's happening there and start to promote that event, because it's cool, it's different, it's Morro Bay specific. You know, we've got this beautiful rock and this gorgeous, you know, surfing here is like no place else. So I think if we push it that way, we will drive traffic and we will be looking to fill hotel stays. But I do not have statistics the way that I do for the other festivals.
So effectively, are you viewing this being its third year, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So
I think it's its
we've
third
executed two, and this will be its third.
Yeah, I think so.
So we're reviewing this as or fourth. Taylor,
is this the fourth? You think, Taylor? It might be.
third or fourth. I don't remember.
It's been around since the beginning of Morro Bay and Bloom, which I think is 4 years.
Okay.
It says 3, so this would be the 4th.
This is the fourth year.
There you
Okay,
go.
This is the fourth year.
Are we viewing this as an incubator program that we're hoping to foster into something greater?
For me, yes. Yeah, and our relationship with the Surfboard Art Festival as a chamber is to take this 1 year at a time. So this first year is really looking at helping with the reach and helping with the advertising and the marketing, and then maybe taking more on as we progress. But that'll be something that the board for the chamber decides after this year.
Okay.
And that is that part of the reason, this incubator idea of incubating this event thing. It seems that there's a small print on this where it's asking for $2,500, but we could end up paying $7,500.
Oh, I don't know about that.
So
That's
is
my
this like a
concept.
car deal?
I can talk about that.
I can't speak to that. I did not write the grant.
That was the next question we wanted to get into,
Yeah.
was the notes on here. This looks like it's $2,500 up to $7,500, $5,000 for boards. Who
So
can
let me
elaborate?
explain to you my thought on this.
Please.
When Walter came to me and started talking about Surfboard Art Festival, how can we grow this? How can we get, how can it be more driving hotel rooms? He had this concept of taking it out to wine tasting rooms all over the county, which I thought was really good because it gives us the opportunity to get into other markets to promote back to Morro Bay. And so the incubator part that you're talking about, which is an emerging opportunity, is what I put that under, is giving him the option of every board that he places in a wine room outside of Morro Bay, but in San Luis County, we'd give him an additional $200 grant. So he's got an incentive to put those out there. There are requirements that he would have to have a brochure holder that clearly relates them back to morrobay.org and talks about the Surfboard Art Festival. So it's just an opportunity for us on an advertising side to get outside of the area for people that are driving up and down Highway 1. And I did ask him, how that was coming, and he sent me an email back, and he said that the boards are going to be freestanding next to the artists. The artists are going to have artwork there as well, and they'll be right by the tasting bar, and that they'll provide plastic holders that the maps are on attached to the board somehow, and that they'll actively go up and restock them. So that's the commitment I have from him on it.
So, this is such a unique event, if we want to even call it an event. From my point of view, and I've watched this for a while, for a number of years here, it seems like a large advertising and marketing unique scheme. And bringing me back to a grant situation, since I run a nonprofit, a lot of times when you're looking at grants, you're like, we're all applying for this pool of money, and we want to give it to events that are a good usage of that money. And for me, I'm getting to a point where this thing, I would maybe rather spend my marketing and advertising money with a contractor that professionally does that. And I'm not sure that Morro Bay and Bloom is a professional marketing and advertising contractor. So if this event is really a marketing and advertising scheme, why don't I invest my money with somebody who professionally does that versus this? And I like to point that out.
For greater clarity there, Taylor, I'm sorry. Are you saying that you like the event, but the way that we put it out to the public, you would like to see more efficient, or do you not like the event altogether?
I'm dubious that this event is a good usage of our money. I'm dubious of this event giving me data that's real. What I hear from this event over and over again is the yes man thing, where it's like, everything's great, this is going to be so awesome, now we're going to do this. And I'm like, these are great ideas. I love pipe dreams, and I love uniqueness. But if it's year 4 and we're still not filling hotel rooms, why are we spending hotelier dollars on it? If it's marketing and advertising, show me some metrics that this is a good use of marketing and advertising dollars compared to how we spend marketing and advertising dollars. I love their effort, but I want to fund events. I really do. I feel like we talk about events all the time, and I want to fund events. I love having new events brought online that are efficient, like another triathlon that's a winner. Let's put money on that. I love little events like Superbration that are unique and fill small number of hotel rooms that give you this little gem. I love the Taste of the Grove and these kind of things, but after 4 years or even 20 years, like the Harbour Festival, we got to ask questions. Is this a good usage of our money? Do we keep dumping it into these holes? Not to be Debbie Downer, but let's keep it real.
Let me give some quick thoughts, because I totally hear what you're saying, Taylor. A couple things to remind you: this is not TOT dollars. This is general fund money. So the fact that this is really a community event, it doesn't bother me as strongly as it bothers you. You can always not do the incentive and just do the base grant. That would be fine too. It's up to you guys.
So, I'm sorry, Jen, since this is general funds, that I did note that in 90,000, we're just then making a recommendation to council to allocate the dollars.
No, it's already approved in council to be in our budget for the grants and
Okay, so they've effectively allotted it to us to approve and distribute as we see effective.
Correct.
Okay.
This is off season. This is November, December, when we're looking for having stuff in town. So it's not an event like a 2-day event that pushes, clearly hotel rooms. Absolutely. You're right, Taylor. It does have the end event. But I was looking at it from the opportunity of getting out of market and looking at getting into, other areas that are going to be travelers coming down Highway 1 or up Highway 1.
Mm-hmm. So to further the discussion board, effectively I see this, and correct me if I'm wrong, want to keep this dialogue moving here. This is really in two parts. One is, do we want to allocate $2,500 as recommended for the art festival, surfboard art festival, excuse me. And then the second portion would be, do we want to allocate $200 per board up to a maximum of $5,000 for board placement around the county? Is that as you all see it as well?
Well, that would be so. It would be 2,500 plus 5,000.
Yeah.
Could be up to 7,500.
Is that correct, Jen?
Correct.
In my summation there?
Correct.
Okay. So we could vote on this and actually keep the discussion here moving. We could just approve just to do the surfboards, not distribute them around the county. We could approve $2,500 for the surfboards and maybe cap it at another $2,500 for distribution around the county. There's a lot of ways to look at this. I would consider this analogous to the cow parade, as I mentioned earlier, and I know a lot of us were dubious as to what draw does that really bring to our hotels, so I get that. I do personally like the idea of them getting out into tasting rooms outside of at least our town. Tasting rooms are quite frequently visited by our guests, so there's some sort of a connection there. This is subjective, though.
Absolutely, and you can also reduce down the physical hard grant and just do the incentive dollars. I mean,
my experience is brief with the event, and we moved it from here to the inn at Morro Bay. Here it was an auction. And one of the interesting things about this event is that it has evolved so much, and it keeps changing. We've always been a sponsor for the past 2 years, where we've sponsored a board in our lobby, and we've been on the map, and we've used it to promote the hotel. Come and see this artwork that we have. And then we also, the real hotel gain that we got wasn't from the board sitting in the lobby. It was from the weekend with the lighted boat parade and the art sale, because it wasn't just an auction. It was, they sold Forever Stoked artwork, there was jewelry, there was music, musicians, and they sold the surfboards. But we really didn't get much during the festival, but that weekend we really did, and I know that we sold out, and so there was compression. The event itself was an all-day kind of thing, so we probably got 400 or 500 people to walk through and see it. And I think that some people complained, hey, it's supposed to be an auction. Aren't they auctioning the boards off? Because that's what they were used to. And it became more of a larger sale of artwork, surf art and everything. But it was really difficult for me to see to see the boards go out to wineries, because I want one here. I want to be on the map where the tourists go, hey, I want to come to the lobby of the Inn at Morro Bay, or to your hotel, or to a business here in Morro Bay. I do like the idea, and I think that if there's plenty of boards to go around, get them in the wine tasting rooms to draw them here. What's the message in that tasting room? Is it go to Morro Bay to see the boards that are in other wineries? I'm trying to figure out, how that's going to effectively get more hotel rooms for me. Is there a call to action, or is it an invitation to come to the party on December 2nd? So that's kind of where I am. I do like the concept. I think that it's really local art is very important to me, and the artists that we see doing not just the surfboards are really proud, and they really want to show it off. So I'm for it. I'm just not sure about the extra $5,000. I'd be more inclined to do the $2,500 grant.
And they are still going to put boards here in town, Charlie? Okay. So there can be more parameters on there. If you want to clearly state there needs to be a certain amount of boards here in town against the grant dollars, you can do that so that they're not just putting it out market. I mean, I totally hear what you're saying.
I'm inclined to agree with my thoughts. Really echo Charlie's to a degree. Is I love the idea. I think it fits our culture here, and these are the reasons guests come to our boutique region as opposed to larger MSAs. But I feel like there's some polish that needs to happen to this, and it could be more effective and gain greater traction.
One thing that I'd like to see, I'm not that familiar with this event, but when Erica comes up here from the Commerce and provides very useful statistics about events, maybe we can tack something onto that. After 4 years, we should be able to see something from a hotelier perspective, so that if we do give them $2,500 this year, we have something to go on next year, and they also maybe have a little bit more direction on their end.
Excellent note, Sean. Board could perhaps, as we keep the discussion here moving, of the $200 per board, could we say that for every board we sponsor, we want 50% of those boards to be in Morro Bay and then 50% out of market, to put teasers out market, but then have a reason, as Charlie mentioned, to come here? That there's a concentration of boards within our city, but there's awareness being broadcast out through the region. I'm just spitballing here, trying to...
So the bonus was only for out market. It was not
exclusively out market.
Yeah.
How many boards, or maybe perhaps Erica, how many boards do we anticipate getting in town? We don't know yet. It's a young event, and
I'm going to say approximately 20 boards or so, and I'd be pleased to have 10 here and 10 out. And again, I like the idea of getting them into a wine tasting room or even to an art gallery that would draw people here to. Maybe we need one in our art center here that says, "Come and see this board." And I know that. I don't know. I'm struggling with trying to get more people in town to see the boards and to stay here.
Now, all fairness to big picture, council did give us this money of the $90,000 to raise awareness for the city as a whole. So I guess to put perspective on the purpose of these funds, this is not, to be clear, right? This is not TBID dollars. This is general fund from city to promote the city of Morro Bay. So would our objective here be slightly different?
I think it would be.
Okay.
Yeah, this is more of a community event. I do think that you should be, if you're going to do two different amounts on your flat grant, I think you need to be very specific that it is for boards to be located in the city of Morro Bay.
Right.
And that the other one, if you're going to do the other one, it needs to be for, how we stated, outside of the city, but in San Luis Obispo County.
But effectively, the mantra we use about laser focus on heads and beds, in this particular case, we don't have to do that. This is not TBID funds.
Correct.
Erica?
I just wanted to comment that this dialogue is very helpful from my perspective because we are helping with the PR for this event. So I'm very grateful for all of this back and forth because that call to action is so essential. So if this board is in an art gallery in AG, what's it going to say? Is it going to say, come to this event on December 2nd, book your stay now? Is it, what is that call to action? So this dialogue is very helpful.
Is it December 2nd, the event?
I don't know.
The sell-off?
That's what Charlie said.
Okay, which that would be a phenomenal time to produce guests for our town.
Overnights. Yeah.
It's the same day as the light boat parade usually.
Well, that's a nice, okay, so light boat parade at night.
I love this dialogue. It's really helpful for us to craft the marketing, really. So.
Yeah, I would have to say that, this event and the cow parade, we've got people in our store that were asking where the surfboards were and where the cows were. So for both being the same sort of thing, it is effective in drawing people to the area. And if we're not applying it to just hotel stays, then I love that we're going to be using money that we can vote on towards community. That feels like a new thing for me up here. I've been around for a while, and
this doesn't have to be heads in beds. This is not TBID dollars.
This is the first time I've heard that.
I love the idea of the event. I think it's a phenomenal part of our culture here. Are we building towards a motion? As the chair, I cannot make one.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the $2,500 grant funding.
Is there a second on that motion or an alteration?
I had a question for Charlie on that. So are you saying the 2,500 but not the other money that could come up to totaling the whole thing to 7,500?
I think we should do a straight $2,500 grant
I'll second
to
that.
the event.
And that has no restrictions, no parameters? Okay.
I think as the event evolves, I think that, we can create parameters that would make it better, but for this year, I think we keep it simple and give him the $2,500 and have him explore the options. And I'm not sure whether we need to incentivize him, to put boards out of the area. I think that one of the things that he does and we do is we pay to put a board in our lobby. So we actually, as a business, I sponsor him too, and it's here. And I pay $250 because I want to have a board in my lobby to draw people in from the map. Yes, Erica?
No, of course.
For that incentive piece, because we also pay the visitor center pays to have a board on display, but maybe it could be explored that because he's trying to go out of market, if it was incentivized, he would be able to either waive or reduce the fee to have that board placed outside of the area, and that might be building the relationship. You could build it from there moving forward. Just an idea.
Or you could reduce the incentive down to like $50 a board instead of $200.
So we had a motion. We have a second on that motion. We can vote in favor of that motion, or we can deny, or we can amend the motion. Or we can do a second motion. Lori, how do we formally, I know you're very strict about these rules and we want to respect that. With a first and a second, we can amend a motion? Does there have to be a motion to amend the motion?
No, it can be a request to amend the motion.
Okay.
The motion maker would need to agree to it.
The motion
Making the amendment, then I'm assuming you.
it's implicit. All right. Was there, I heard a possible...
Well, I'm struggling with this event. Again, we like it, and I love the local artists being able to produce this great artwork, and that's one of the joys of having it and seeing it is the creation that's been made. Getting it out into wineries, I think, is a great idea, and if we do need to incentivize him to do that, then I'd like to alter my motion to give $2,500 grant funding and up to $2,000 in surfboard placement incentive funds outside of Morro Bay with the implicit call to action that they should be booking their hotel rooms and coming to Morro Bay. And I'm struggling with this, but I think that we can incentivize him to put them 10 boards out in the county and wineries as long as he's driving business and with a call to action to come to Morro Bay, to go to the event, and hopefully stay with us. Does that work?
How much? Well, to add to your motion, you need to know how much. You said 2,000, but how much is that per board?
It's on here. It's 200 per board was the recommendation, but we can.
It'd be $200 a board.
So you're advocating for 10 boards. Can I make a request for an amendment to that motion?
Amend the amendment.
To amend the amendment. Given the nature of these funds being from council directly out of general fund to promote Morro Bay, I would actually be inclined to go for the full $5,000 at $200 per board. Pushing that out, as you noted, with a very strong call to action. I think we can refine that, but helping, because that's only, if we do $2,000, we're only talking 10 boards. I'm not sure we're going to get much awareness there. I'd like to see some sort of out-market saturation. So my request to amend the amendment would be effectively to approve the $2,500 initially for the board and the up to $5,000 for out-market at $200 per board, totaling the full $7,500. I think this could have traction if executed intelligently. But that's my request, and since you made it,
I'd be happy to approve that up to $5,000, and that gives him the opportunity then to actually come back to us and show us what he has got to do, because I think we really need to see the proof of what he's doing outside of Morro Bay to draw people to Morro Bay.
Accountability. We're looking for strong accountability for that out-market program.
I'm going to request an additional small change to that there's a minimum of 20 boards out of that 5,000, so that we don't get 11 and still shell out money.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that. Lori, how are your records going down there? Like circuitous, Venn diagram? Sure.
Do you want me to read it, or do you want
Yes,
to read it?
we need some clarification on all this as it stands. Should I attempt to summarize? Okay, so the motion, the multiple amendments to the motion as it stands would be effectively to approve all the dollars as they are noted here in staff report, $2,500 for the event, and then up to $5,000 at $200 per board for out market. And then additionally, we want to see a minimum of 20 boards executed out market to attempt to reach some sort of saturation. And we would like accountability for the placement and a call to action on those. Does that sound correct? Okay, so that is the amendments as they have been all stated. We had a first. Do we have a second? We have this.
I'll second that.
Sean will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposition?
No.
Okay. Abstentions? Motion passes 4-1.
I would just request, Jennifer, whether it's you or you're delegating somebody to supervise the success of this event, just so we have some feedback for next year. Okay.
All right, next item on the agenda here, the CCWC. It is highlighted in Jen's color coding, which is an emerging opportunity. Before we get into the details here, is there any public comment on the CCWC?
I'm just glad to have them in Morro Bay and not in Pismo Beach. The events at Cuesta, and to have them in Pismo was really tough, and to have them in Morro Bay filling up, 300 plus people coming to the event. And these are emerging writers. This is a conference for folks that are learning about writing. And so I can see the future of editorial coming out of this event. And having it in Morro Bay, I think, is really a coup to get it back here from Pismo.
And to clarify in the acronym, CCWC is the Central Coast Writers Conference for reference. Thank you for that, Charlie. Is there any public comment on it? No public comment. All right, Jen, would you like to elaborate on the staff report?
Yes, I would. So to go on what Charlie was saying, last year this event was already in existence when I came in, and the website, it drove me crazy too, Charlie, because it's at Cuesta College, and the first page is like, stay in Pismo Beach. And I'm like, why would you stay in Pismo Beach? It's like so far away, and we were right here. So I worked with Terry, who started this event at Cuesta College last year, and we've been able to, with Charlie's help at the end, we've been able to really establish a good relationship with her and to move it over here. One of the things that I was trying to do for her was to get the trolley to be able to run them between the hotel and out to Cuesta, but unfortunately our trolley is still operating that time of year, and so it's not a possibility. So what I was offering instead was to add an additional $1,000 towards transportation to offset that cost. This is a midweek event, which is great. It's late September, and it's Wednesday through Saturday, so that's a really good thing. They've also got a pretty large dinner event that they'll be doing here as well. That'll be several hundred people, so it'll bring good business into town as well. I'm thrilled to have them here too, Charlie.
Jen, the $1,000 towards transportation needs. If the trolley is out, how do you plan on administering the $1,000?
She would have to hire buses.
Okay.
It would be on them to go ahead and manage the transportation. Yeah.
Okay. And then your staff report here notes that last year you had 350 to 450 attendees for a 3-night stay, starting on the Thursday, late September.
Correct. They're mainly out-of-town people. They're not local people that come to this.
Okay. Is there discussion, board? Seeing no public comment and nor any board discussion, then we'll be looking for a motion.
I make a motion to pass this as recommended.
Do we have a second on Taylor's? Okay, second from Mr. Allen. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. That was an easy one. Next one on the list here is the 100,000 Poets. Not familiar with this, and it is noted, according to Jen's color coding, that it is unfunded event. She recommends no dollars, and the committee does not recommend funding based on the event outline.
Correct. This is a stage performance out on the cement stage outside of Blue Sky Bistro, and I would just recommend to not fund it. It doesn't fit any parameters for hotel rooms or even a lot of daytime guests. It's a very small stage. There might be 100 people that would come and see the show.
Or I'd like to make a motion not to approve this. Thank
Before
you.
we do so, is there any public comment on this event? See no public comment. I heard a motion a moment ago.
I will restate my motion to not approve this.
All right. Is there a second on the motion?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 5-0 to not approve funding. Next item on the list is the Harbour Festival. Last year we did allocate $14,000 to do so. This year the recommendation from our subcommittee is to allocate $11,125. Is there any public comment on Harbour Festival?
I guess it's my turn now. I'm Don Doubleday. I'm the executive director of the Morro Bay Harbor Festival, among other things. Take a second, if I can, to give you a little history on the Harbor Festival. Started back in 1983. It was an event that was co-founded by the Merchants Association, the Chamber of Commerce, and the city staff. It was held out at the Rock Dirt parking lot and was essentially a little street fair. Over the years, it grew to the point that it became a huge event. I've had the opportunity to volunteer for it every single year and gradually taking on more responsibility. In 2012, when I started taking over with volunteers, the event was held in front of the Great American Fish Company, Harbor Hut, Dockside, in that area. We brought in thousands of dollars worth of fencing and fence-to-complete area, which kept people in as well as from wandering out. We had thousands and thousands of dollars worth of out-of-area bands come in to entertain. We brought in all out-of-the-area vendors. Everything that we did was not Morro Bay. Our mission statement says that we are to promote the city, to promote the Bay, and to promote local businesses. We decided we got to a point where it was just out of hand. We were getting complaints from every business in Morro Bay. They didn't want to participate. They didn't want to be a vendor. We were no longer able to get volunteers. The volunteers we were bringing in from out of the area, such as the Grizzly Group, Cal Poly fraternities and sororities. So nothing was happening that was benefiting Morro Bay. I took over in 2012 and I wrote a letter to the board and I said we need to scrap this approach and to look at it as strictly a Morro Bay event. In talking with our police and fire, they recommended we move it down to where it is now on the Embarcadero and to not have a gated entry, have free admission, to make it a family event and not sell so much alcohol or have the focus on wines and selling alcohol. A lot of the wineries that we had been working with dropped out of it because they're doing their own events and didn't want to participate in ours. So we put it together on the Embarcadero as a much smaller event, and our theme is all things Bay. We immediately got the support of all the local nonprofits, the Estuary Committee, all kinds of support from that area. We talked with the city. The city manager said that they would give us direct funds from the city if we had fireworks. So even though we didn't see fireworks as a part of our event, we went ahead and signed it up because you can get $10,000. For $10,000, you can get a $30,000 fireworks show. So we did that, and we signed up for a 2-year deal with the company. So we were somewhat locked in and had already prepaid for the second year. The fireworks didn't do anything for us, and we had very poor attendance for that. I doubt very seriously if it helped any of the hotels or motels. What we're doing now, also all the vendors that we have had this last couple of years must be a Morro Bay business. They had to have a business license in Morro Bay. And we worked with the Harbor Department so that any of the leaseholders along the Embarcadero that wanted to put a booth out in the event could do it for $25, and the Harbor Department underwrote the difference between that and the $100 amount, which was about $4,500. So we got funding from the Harbor Department, we got funding from the city. After the fireworks were very poorly received, the city came back and said to us, we don't want you to do the fireworks and we're not going to give you any more money. But we were already locked in and had paid for fireworks again. So we did it again against our better judgment. We should have just thrown the money away instead, I think. Where we're at right now, back in the day when we had the event, we were at about a $200,000 annual budget. Today we are at about a $70,000 annual budget for this. Much smaller event. We are struggling because our only income is from sponsors and corporate grants. We have a lot of corporate grants. We have a lot of support from the community. We had over 30 businesses from Morro Bay participate last year. Every single business that participated said they did excellent. They made a lot of money. We brought a lot of people into the businesses, the restaurants, and everybody on the Embarcadero. So we're continuing on, but we have a very tight budget. Again, we've reduced it to a one-day event just because of the logistics. We were paying thousands of dollars to the city before to close the streets, to bring in extra police, fire, all kinds of additional costs, which we no longer have. This year, we will no longer be selling hard alcohol. We will only have beer and we will have wine, and that is one of our major sponsors is CDC, and Libertine are helping us with that. So we're still looking for all the help we can get. We have a very tight budget. We are not a profit. We are actually looking at a loss this year. We do have some backup funding in case we do, but we have brought in some new corporate sponsors and we're searching for more. We really appreciate your consideration of our grant request. We do understand that under the circumstances and the changes that we aren't necessarily putting heads on beds as much as we were. What we are doing, though, is benefiting the local businesses. And one would think that we'd be sponsored and supported by the chamber, but we get no funding from the chamber. We get no funding from the city. We get no funding from the Harbor Department. Everything is just corporate grants. So we feel that the city should help us because we do bring in revenue. We do bring in, we bring in about 5,000 to 8,000 people for the day. A lot of those people do stay in the hotels and motels, and they do fill up the restaurants in town. So with that said, the other issue that I understand has to do with our marketing personnel. And when I took over in 2012, we were able to get Anna Scott involved. Anna was the retiring director of marketing for Royal Grande Community Hospital. She had a lot of contacts in the area. She came on board. This was her only event, and her husband Bruce, who is a graphics designer, put together Scott Marketing Partnership, and she went out and she sold the event. And over the last several years, she's gotten at least $30,000 worth of in-kind advertising for us. Last year it was $31,000. This year she's telling us it's going to be $34,000 of free advertising. And we're talking about good advertising. KSBY TV is giving us $10,000 worth of free airtime, plus they're doing all of the production for us. The New Times, the Tribune, Tolosa Press, Dimes Media, Central Coast Family Magazine, the Rock Radio, K-Tip in Porterville, Bakersfield Radio, and a couple of other smaller radio stations that we have right now. So that's where that money is being gathered and where our advertising is going. Anna and her husband have since semi-retired. They bought a home in Washington, and this is pretty much the only event that she does the marketing and media for. She has a great ability to contact and set these people up, and we'd like to continue with her. We pay them $5,000 to the Scott Partnership, one lump sum, and she does it all. They've traveled to Morro Bay numerous times and met with the board. We're in constant contact with her. So we're very reticent to change our approach at this time, and we understand the desire of your group to focus all of your marketing through mental marketing and through the Tourism Bureau. But we just can't see any way that we can throw out the baby with the bathwater, so to speak. We're getting a lot of support from the community. I do have Anna's resume here if you're interested in looking at that. And I'm available if you have any specific questions that might affect you.
First, sir, I want to thank you for donating your time. Events like this could not take place, and as I think all of us up here have probably fostered an event in one form or the other, it takes a lot of effort. So we really respect that tremendously.
Thank you. I appreciate that. This is, again, my third year as a non-paid consultant. So I put a lot of time in. This year, actually, I am getting a stipend. I just couldn't put it together this year without a little bit. And so we budgeted some money for me, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. We'll see. I'm being flexible.
All right. Thank you very much. And it sounds like I thought people reaching up for the mic up here.
I had one question. Again, thank you, sir,
Please.
for your time. General approximations are fine, but a lot of changes that you mentioned. Do you have any numbers for attendance, how the attendance has changed over the years?
Last year, we had a drone flyover, and we did come up with approximately 8,000 participants, attendees, if you will.
How does that compare?
We haven't put together any kind of formal counting, and that is something that we probably would need to do.
Would that roughly be half of what it used to be?
So, Stephen, if you look on the event history, they've got number of attendees is one of the items that they have to fill out, and you'll see 2013 they approximated 14,000, 2014 9,800, 2015 and 16 8,000.
So yeah, it has become a somewhat smaller event.
Other questions, board?
I wanted to thank Don. I've been personally involved with you for years in this event, and I'm hard, but I really do appreciate how much work you and everybody has done. I mean, the city owns a great debt to you for this event is our baby, and we're leaving it with you, and not taking ownership for it, I feel oftentimes, and it frustrates me so much that makes me want to make it better. So thank you.
Thank you. We do appreciate your help, and if you do have the ability to grant us some funds, we appreciate it, but we're not going away. We will find a way to put this event on. We will find our funding, and we will figure it out. So thank you very much.
Of course, thank you very much. Further discussion, board? When Jen, you mentioned about the attendance. It sounds like over the last handful of years, it's been cascading downward in attendance. 14,000 a few years ago, down to 8,000 now. Mm-hmm. Which
part of that is going from a two-day event to a one-day event. Right. I mean, really, you cut the attendance in half. And part of it was that the Sunday was just not as well attended as the big day. And being controlled in cages was just really tough. So this event, like the Surfboard Art Festival, has morphed into, I feel like, a much better community event, much more Morro Bay centric, and really it's difficult to determine the heads and beds, but I'm telling you, every year this is a compressed sellout for the entire town. The Morro Bay Maritime Museum is working hard to get the Bill of Rights here to support the Harbour Festival. We've already made arrangements with the dock. We're working with the group out of San Diego to get their vessel through a Coast Guard rigging inspection prior to making its trip up here. But this event is an amazing event that really is the center of Morro Bay's. It's all about the bay. So, Don, thank you.
Taylor, yes.
I'm very, very passionate about this event, and I've been hard on it for a couple years now, mostly because I've been personally involved with it through our nonprofit in the past, and I agree more than 100% that this event is our baby. I mean, this was the event that in 1996, when I was in college, brought me to Morro Bay. It is Morro Bay. So I think it's ludicrous to think that we could ever not have the Harbour Festival. So therefore, we must make the Harbour Festival successful. That's our only option. So how do we do that? And I feel personally that it's our job to adamantly attack it every single year until we're successful. So if, the fireworks didn't work, then we remove the fireworks. And if the marketing thing that you have set up, although extremely efficient and already in the books, if that has to change, then we have to change it. I don't know what we have to do, but I feel that we all have to get behind this and make it work. Not having Harbour Festival is never going to be an option, so we have to make this work. And I think that what you've drafted this year is the smartest presentation you've given me in the last 3 years. So I'll support what you've put up here. Thank you.
Always passionate, Taylor. Thank you. Seriously. Further discussion, board?
My question would just be the definition of success. It sounds like the goal is to scale it down and be more of a community-centric event, which I appreciate. But as a hotel operator, greater attendance, more heads and beds would be a success. So, a definition of what we're looking for here.
Charlie, you did have feedback, though, from your property. You said last year's Harbour Festival, you experienced compression?
Throughout that entire week, actually, leading up and through that weekend was a very, very positive week for us. And we were actually referring people to other hotels because we didn't have rooms. And part of it is that the event has become a free event. There's no longer, you don't have to buy tickets, which is nice. There is a much more local feel to an open event, and it's a more family-friendly event. And I like that you're going away from the hard alcohol and keeping it more family-friendly. I did see here that they're also going to be opening up vendor spaces to San Luis Obispo County businesses, which I think is important to fill some void. You get to pick them. They don't just, right? So you get to choose the ones that you want that fit the event. If I was to make a motion, my motion, I know we have more comment, but I have worked in the past with Anna and Bruce Scott as well, knowing their professionalism and what they've been able to do, even that they've semi-retired. Anna and Bruce are a pretty incredible force with media and being able to get in-kind donations. So I really like the Scott group as well. So
I'm wondering if they are semi-retired, is there a way to groom the next generation of marketers in an efficient way that lasts beyond this year?
That's a very good question. Don, would you like to speak to that? I see you gesturing.
I've spoke with Bruce and Anna about it, and yeah, they are not going to be able to continue indefinitely, and so at some point here, we are going to have to morph this into a little different situation. We're hoping to set up more permanent contacts with the in-kinds that we have, and then work gradually into a different arrangement. We're open to that. We're happy to work with the Tourism Bureau, but again, we have committed to Anna and Bruce, and many of the names that I listed that we are advertising through have already committed for this year. And we'd be happy to get additional help through mental marketing, but we don't want to give up what we've got.
I have a question. The subcommittee that reviewed these applications previous to this meeting, who was on that subcommittee for public record?
The same people that we had last year. So do you want me to?
Please.
We had Jack Smith from the Skateboard Museum, Liz Gilson from my office, myself, Charlie Yates. Who am I missing? I'm missing two people. No. Gosh dang it. That's terrible of me. I can see his face and I can't say his name right now.
Maggie was not on.
No.
Well, when you think of it, we'll circle back
I'm
around. This
sorry.
gives us a general idea that I'm curious within that subcommittee, and I was not there. Charlie, you were, though. Perhaps you could speak to the reason. The recommendation here in staff report is to award a $10,000 grant towards advertising the Harbour Festival, contingent upon it staying with our current marketing agency, Mental Marketing. What was the thought process in that subcommittee meeting to recommend Mental Marketing? I hear you now saying you praise the Scots and think they do a good job. How do we come to that conclusion?
Well, part of it is that, I wasn't fully aware of Anna and Bruce's involvement other than what I had read and knowing, what they're doing. We're really pleased with the promotion and advertisement placement and in-kind that Mental Marketing's been able to do as well, which is why we were trying to manage it and help, trying to funnel all the funds into one marketing agency rather than have it split up was the main goal. And also really for us to keep more of our management so that we could see what they're doing and how they're,
Taylor, of course.
To maybe, once we draft a motion for this, maybe we could have some contingency for the future. So, it seems like every year they come to us and they've already got it already built, and they're asking us to approve it as is, as built, and that's difficult to do. We want to invest our money wisely. So maybe we need to make contingencies, like if it is as built, and this is what we're getting this year for this amount of money, which seems a responsible amount of money for this event, we can put contingencies on it. So next year we want the marketing to be with in-house marketing. Whoever we choose, it's our thing. And we put these things on it. So we need, like I said, we are going to keep this event. So let's build it however we need to do. If we want to add more people so that it's a bigger event, to have more hotel stays, how do we do that? Because obviously, if they can't pay their own director, they need our help. I mean, I know what it's like to be a director of a nonprofit and not get paid. It's hard. It's all your heart. So we need to help.
One of the things I was talking about, in trying to draft a motion is just that, is working towards the future. And possibly if, we were able to draft something up where we would be able to assist them and also use Mental Marketing in a transitional year, making this year a transitional year, where Mental Marketing would work closely with Anna and Bruce in a transition to take over the marketing for that. That would be some sort of a motion where we could put the, say, $5,000 towards mental, $5,000 towards the marketing through that, and the $1,125 permit fee. That's just a thought.
He did say it was $5,000 was their bill, so that would be a good breakdown.
I think I heard the evolution of a good motion.
I want to talk through a few things, though, before we make a motion.
Please.
Can I do that real quick?
And go ahead, Jen. And then afterwards, Mr. Double, if you have any comments to enlighten us with, please do so.
Of course. So, and Don and I have talked quite a bit. I love that he's opening up to county-wide vendors this year. I think that was kind of a challenge last year, as there was a lot of holes. So, my husband has a shop in the Embarcadero, so I, see people walking by and hear what they say, and they're like, where's all the vendors? It was a very windy day, unfortunately, so a lot of vendors pulled their tents, which was really unfortunate last year, and obviously there's nothing we can do about that, but having a good, solid group of vendors down there opening up to county, I think will make a big difference. Maybe year after next, because now people go, oh, that was really cool, there's a lot of vendors. So I think that'll help on a long-term side. Last year, we did not see the fill on hotel rooms like I was expecting to see, and so in my budget outside of the grants, I ended up spending $4,000 through Mental strictly to advertise hotel stays for that weekend for Harbour Festival. So I did that because, bottom line, I need the rooms filled. Whether the event's, getting the job done or not, I'm going to fill the room. So I picked that up and went ahead and did that as well. So that was done last year, just so you guys know. That's my responsibility to you, is to make sure that the rooms are filled. So I like Charlie's idea. I don't mind if they want to use the Scott Group. The concern I have is that when you have in-kind marketing, you don't have control over the content or when it's going to be placed or where it's placed or how it's used. It's free. It's free space that they need to fill. And so I think we need to, on top of that, we need to have paid media that is in the new realm of digital media, of Adara and ad texting, what we know books rooms, not just in-kind marketing. That's my gut as filling hotel rooms goes.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So would $5,000 cover that?
Yeah, that would be fine. So then on top of that, this is the first grant you'll see where we have this additional money we're requesting for fees. So this is an odd year because going back talking about the city side now, the city's financially really strapped. One of the things that was put into place this last year is Rec Department manages all the permits, and they've always discounted permits for events to the point where they are at a deficit because of it. And so they have been given the parameter of no more reducing fees. And it's going to make it really hard on a lot of events like Harbour Festival, Winter Bird Festival. These people, they could live and die on permit fees, for what they have to pay. And so in looking at the money from emerging opportunities, this is a great area to help an event with a new expense that they've never had and help offset that a little bit. So that was the $1,125 that I recommended on top of the $10,000.
I wanted to just if we're doing $5,000 to the Scott Group and $5,000 to Mental, and we previously spent $4,000 on ad buys with Mental, maybe there's a financial way to set aside $1,000 of Mental's $5,000 of their time to transition the in-kind so that we don't lose that aspect of it. Whether there's, I don't know if that's something we want to, I fear that $5,000, you do this, we lose any transitional value. So I don't know how we would bridge that gap, whether it's just adding a third person to conference calls or what that is.
Then I imagine Charlie could probably amend his, he was building up towards a motion there to add in that it would be effectively synergy between both groups rather than specific delegation. This would be part of a transition. And I think we'd probably also state in there that it's not Mental marketing specifically, it's whatever marketing agency that the city is using at that time.
Correct.
For us to transition.
Correct. And you're talking about two privately owned companies, right. So asking them to work together, and they're giving away all of their trade secrets. I don't know. That's not, I don't know that we can say they're going to do that. Are you going to tell some of your room things that you do for hotels, those are like proprietary, right? So we can make recommendations, but I don't think we should take $1,000 out of our budget to promote the rooms. with the intention of that being for that part of it. But I agree with you, Sean. I would love to see them kumbaya.
Did you have a comment?
I did speak with Anna and the Scotts, and they're more than willing to work with mental marketing, and however we need to transition it. They are retiring, and so we won't have them forever, and this might be the best way to facilitate that transition. I really like the idea of working with them to try to set up the in-kind as an ongoing thing, and whoever is responsible for it is doing that. So I have no problem. I really like the idea of using both resources.
All right. I think we all feel good about that. Thank you for the confirmation there. And with, as you noted, with them retiring, there really shouldn't be a conflict of interest. There should be a natural handoff.
It's not. They have no secrets. I mean, she's just a wonderful, delightful person, and she knows a lot of people, and that's her secret. So
beautiful.
That's great.
If there's no further discussion, board, are we at potential for a motion?
I'd like to go ahead and reiterate my motion to approve the $10,125 with the stipulation of $5,000 towards the $11,125 with $5,000 towards mental marketing, $5,000 towards to the Harbour Festival to spend, and $1,125 to cover the city permit fees.
Do we have a second? Thank you for the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Oh, the second was Taylor. Motion passes 5-0.
Sorry that took so long, but thank you.
No
guys.
problem.
thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sincerely, from all of us.
Thank you, Doc.
Donating your time like this, it's good people like you that make this community why we all would like to live here and raise our families. So we have a few more here, board, to go through. Taylor just stepped away for a moment. Can we still proceed? We have 4. We can. All right, we still have a quorum. Let's proceed forward then. All right. Next item on the agenda here is the Dawn to Dusk Triathlon. Do we need to vote to move this?
Motion to not approve the grant from dusk to dawn.
Second. Who's seconding it?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Passes 4-0. Next one, the Morro Bay Triathlon. We're looking to allocate $0 in grant dollars.
Motion to not approve this grant application for Morro Bay Triathlon.
We have a motion.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Next event, Superbration. This, Jen has color-coded as a community event. Last year we allocated $2,500 towards it. This next fiscal year, the request, it's been recommended from subcommittee to effectively cut that in half down to $1,300 with a total, there's some fine print in here. Is there any public comment on Superbration? Direction for us as a board? Seeing none. As noted here in the notes, the recommendation from the subcommittee felt this does not warrant a grant, but did recommend to pay the permit fees. Staff recommendation is to add a grant for this event of $2,500 on top of the permit fees. Jen, since you were the one adding a staff recommendation, can you elaborate for us?
Correct. So this was a pretty large reduction by the subcommittee. Again, you were asking me who was on the subcommittee. It was also Homer Alexander and Ruth Ann Angus. So we had a nice mix of different people.
That is a good contrast.
Yeah, and they do really good. So, their position is very, hardline. This is not, this is a community event. This was not related to hotels and tourism. And I know we had the discussion a lot about Superbration last year, and they are right. It is a community event, but it does happen on the same day as the Morro Bay Triathlon, so there are a lot of people in town. It was a nice combination that we did last year, so I would recommend funding it again this year. This is like their largest fundraiser of the year. I think Taylor can probably talk more about it. It's a very big deal for them. This is kind of make or break for them. And the permit fees, I'm asking to have a larger total donation as a grant. opposed to what the subcommittee was asking. That's my recommendation.
First recommendation, all right.
Yeah.
And board, once again, as we discuss these things, it's hard here to change our hat a bit, but this is not TBID dollars. This is not hoteliers dollars. This is general city funds they're asking us to allocate to make this town a better place, effectively. Discussion?
The superbration, it's the same argument I present every year, is that you're talking about a fundraiser that's trying to do what we're asking fundraisers do as far as events. I mean, they're doing a food and wine. They're pitching to a small group, but it's a higher level of people. You get some out-of-towners, and it's benefiting one of our babies. I mean, the Pacific Wildlife Care is just as important as the National Estuary Program or these other key figures in our town. It's part of who we are. So I feel like we have to fund it, and it's also a good usage of our money. That's my pitch on it.
Thank you, Mr.
I want to say I love the event. It's a great fundraiser, great soup, great fun people, and we did see some out-of-towners there. The folks I interacted with were not all from Morro Bay, and if I can, I'd make a motion if there isn't any more discussion.
We don't want to cut off board discussion. Is there any further board discussion? Seeing no board discussion, ready for a motion?
I would like to make a motion to approve the $3,800.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 5-0. Next on the list, Morro Bay High School basketball. Last year we allocated them $0. This year the recommendation is $1,525. Is there any public comment on this event? Seeing no public comment, we'll open it to board discussion.
This is a new event for them. That's why it was not funded last year. But just like the volleyball, it does fill rooms really well. They don't spend money in town as much being team sports, but it really does fill rooms good. Yeah.
All
And
right.
they book out.
Board discussion?
Yeah.
Motion?
I make a motion to approve it as recommended.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes unanimous, 5-0. Next on the list, the Lighted Boat Parade. Last year, we allocated $1,500 towards this. This year, subcommittee recommends a $5,000 allocation with an additional sponsorship of $4,000, bringing it to a $9,000 grant. Is there any public comment on the recommendation as it stands?
It's me again right now. I'm on the committee. I'm a member of the Morro Bay Rotary Club. Dan Costley is the co-chair. He is currently the president. Dan's had some health issues. He fell and broke his hip and not able to be here today. And we've had a little bit of a setback because of that and a few other things on getting our planning done. We have been meeting with Kirk Carmichael at the Parks and Recreation Department, who is kind of a co-sponsor of this or helps put it on. The Parks and Rec Department does the tree lighting. The Rotary Club does the Santa Claus. The Harbour Department helps us with organizing the boats. Last year we had 28 boats. Of the 28 boats, about 8 of them were local. About 20 of them came in from out of town. Wow. Which is a problem because most of them showed up Saturday midday or mid-afternoon and needed to get registered and signed up and coordinated, and it was a bit of an effort. We are talking about a possible 2-day event. We just haven't quite got all the logistics together. At this point, we're talking about on Friday having the tree lighting, having Santa Claus, having the snow for the kids. On Saturday, we would probably also have Santa Claus and the snow for the kids, but probably only having the lighted, organized, and judged parade on Saturday night. We would, of course, want to encourage, lighted boats on Friday night, but I don't believe that we'd be able to organize that and that it would be as big of a deal as it would be on Saturday night, because a lot of the boats come in from out of town. But Rotary Club's a small group. We've only got 60 members, so that means we get about 20 people to help volunteer. And so we're struggling with it. It is not a fundraiser. It is a community service event of the Rotary Club, so they're not looking to make money on it. They're just wanting to benefit the community and to help the event continue. So we're open to a lot of discussions. We've been trying to work with Jennifer and Kirk with the Parks and Rec Department, and hopefully we can get this all to come together. And we appreciate anything that you guys want to throw at it, because it is a city event and it is a long-time event.
Once again, thank you so much for your time and effort on these things. My family and I, it's a regular thing for us as well. Looking forward to it again this year. So it does make our area a better place to live. The recommendation was, is there any further public comment on this event? I know it's a big one. Seeing no other public comment. Jen, you look like you were itching to make...
Oh, I just wanted to talk about it a little bit, because John and I have been talking about the Lighted Boat Parade and what can we do, and can we grow it into 2 days, and of course, I would love to see it be 2 days. There's concerns on a harbor side of how do you manage that many boats, and so I don't know that it can definitely be 2 days. I'm going to be very frank with you, but that is our intention, is to look at how could we do that. I've actively walked and talked to just about every restaurant on the Embarcadero, and they've all said, yeah, we would sponsor a boat, so we could hopefully, get another 8 to 10 boats. The concern from Harborside is, how do you manage that many boats, in our small little harbor? Is it commercial boats on night one, and is it the residential boats on night two? There's a lot of things that we still need to figure out. So on the grant side, this is the first spot you'll see that we are recommending an event planner for the Lighted Boat Parade. With what Don was telling you, they are a nonprofit group. They are doing this for the greater good of our community, and I think it's the spot where we need to step up and we need to help them with bringing somebody in that can really manage that. He's saying it's getting people signed up on the day they come in, and all that coordination, that needs an event planner. That needs somebody that can actively sit there and deal with all that. The thing I want to kind of just bring up and have it top of mind is, we can't guarantee that we're going to be able to do this next year. So that is a challenge. Council might say next year we're not going to give you 30,000 towards emerging opportunities. That's out of our control. But I think for this year we need to use it as we feel best, and I think this is a great spot to use it and a great way to try to grow this event.
Thank you, Jen. Board discussion. Jen, I had a Absolutely. You're a member of the public.
Nancy Castle, artist and owner of AGP Video, and the board, the Lighted Boat Parade, since we started in 1996, has been one of the things that we cover with video. Just as a benefit and to thank everybody in Morro Bay. And we do upload that to the internet afterwards. I don't know, usually it turns into an edited piece, so streaming it live wouldn't work. But if we are getting these boats coming in from other areas, promoting the fact that after the event you could see it on slowspan.org might be another handle. People could share with their relatives that they can see their boat when it sailed in Morro Bay and that sort of thing. So I just wanted to throw that out as another angle to go at this with.
Thank you. Just curious regarding the video, with it being so dark, how is the resolution?
Pardon me?
With it being so dark, how is the resolution in the video?
Oh, the lights show up gorgeous. The lights show up gorgeous on the boats. Historically, now that it's changed locations a little bit, but usually we've been at the yacht club where the judging was done in the past years. I don't know where it is now. And we'd have one camera up high and one camera down low, so then we'd edit it together, and the lights on the water are incredible. So, no, it's not an issue. And then when we could catch the award ceremonies, they're well enough lit at the yacht club. And, if this is going to turn into a bigger event, a 2-day event, and, we play well with Dawn and the Rotary Club. And so, we'd figure things out. I mean, this last year was exciting in what was planned. Regrettably, the weather did not behave well, and so we didn't get as much as we wanted to, but we still put it out there. I mean, you could go to slowspan.org and find the Christmas parades for many years. So, but here, listening to you guys, we're looking for all the angles that people from outside of the area have a reason to pay attention to Morro Bay, and if, the aunts and uncles see this, we should go to that next year.
Right.
So,
Thank you for your comment very much. Board discussion?
We talked about this event at length maybe 4 or 5 months ago, I want to say. And I just want to continue to stress the opportunity of possibly designating Friday as a personal watercraft parade, whether that's at dusk and people can see it and it's not a lighted watercraft parade, that's one option, or make it a lighted watercraft 7 p.m. type thing, and maybe there's a sponsorship opportunity regarding grant funding with something like a $4,000 amount to flat out rent out every kayak on the water and possibly even buy lights and create an environment where people can just walk up and either pay nothing or $10 or $20 for a tandem kayak with a family and get people out here to turn that into a unique event, but still coordinating with the lighted boat parade. And I don't want to get too into pitching events, but I just think that there's an opportunity there.
That's unique, Sean. Thank you. I like that. Taylor, please.
Jennifer. Okay, so in reading this, the money, the $9,000 that we're discussing, essentially that money is to build the event to get more attendees to come to it and to build the event for the future possibilities. Okay, so my opinion on this event as a local is that it's the only event a year that I feel like is built for us locals. I mean, for my family, it's like our one event where like, this is our event. And my opinion on this, my personal opinion on this, is that I would love to take a little bit of our money and spend it on an event for the locals, not to grow it for the outsiders, but to grow it for the locals. And if the outsiders want to come to it, that's fine. But instead of trying to use money to do all these different things to get other people to come to it, how do we spend money on an event efficiently to build it so the locals come out to it? And then if we get outsiders, fine, but the event's focused on the locals. I think his idea about the personal watercraft would go right into what I'm talking about. I also think it gives you the opportunity to decrease the amount of money, because if we're building it for the locals, then you don't need as much money. It would be my thinking. At the same time, what we're talking about right now, we're talking about money that's not necessarily to fill hotel rooms. So I have an opportunity to pitch this. I personally don't believe that we will be able to grow this event to be a profitable outsider event, specifically because I don't think there's enough room for people to stand on the waterfront and view the boats. And I think that Rotary is a great organization to work with for a local event. And I think you could have a really beautiful thing that you could use for marketing of what this town is, what this city is, not necessarily about coming to that event, but coming to this city that you could use over and over again in the year. I don't want this event to grow.
I do. And I'll tell you why. I love the event. I love the concept of a personal watercraft early evening with the stand-up paddleboard, the angels, the kayaks, the human-powered vessels on the water could be just really unique to the event. What I want to see, Taylor, and to the group, I want to see more and better boats. I want to see boats sponsored by businesses. When you see the Tognazzini boat out there with everything, let's see more. Let's see the other businesses come up and step up and go, hey, I want to be out there and show off my lighted boat too. there should be one for every single restaurant, and quite a few businesses in town should actually sponsor one. And again, keeping it more local. And what I'm hearing, 20 boats come from out of town because it's such a cool event. But we need more locals to get involved. If it's really going to be a local event, we need help to encourage the locals. We need to give them some incentive, like more prizes, cash prizes, to get more people to spend more money to make their boats bigger and better and brighter, and to get just more people out on the water. I love hearing that the Embarcadero businesses would sponsor boats and help people with boats, and I just think that's how I'd like to see the event grow, is make it bigger, in that we just get better local, bigger boats to get those fishermen out there with their crazy lights on. And I just think that we can make it a better event. And this way, with the event planner, may be just the way to assist them, because so much of it is time and energy, Don, putting it out. To get some help, professional help, to help organize and promote this event could really help this event, be a much better and easier event for Rotary to put on.
I'm seeing public comment coming from the crowd. Oh, there's going to be a line.
I just want to make a comment. One of the things that, and Taylor pointed it out somewhat, with the lighted boat parade, it happens at a certain time. It lasts for about an hour or two. Everybody arrives just beforehand, and then everybody leaves right after. It's a traffic nightmare. If we can spread that out over a longer period of time, have the people come in the day before and stay the night, or something that we can spread it out a little bit more, I think it'll cut down on some of the congestion, some of the problems about having places to watch it. There's a lot of opportunities here. I think it's a great event, and we just need to get a little creativity in it. And by throwing some money at a planner, that I think will really help us. Thank you.
Thank you. Further public comment?
Erica with the Chamber. Just from a Chamber perspective, I've been to the Lighted Boat Parade, and it's so fun, and it's so unique, and it's original. It's also very, I agree, it's hard to access the viewing decks. It's a difficult thing, and it winds up kind of feeling very quiet on the land side, on the Embarcadero facing side. I love 12 Days of Christmas, the next thing that you'll be discussing, and I think that the timing aligns. And could it be the shops are open, it's an open house, people are dipping down and checking out the boats, and then they're dipping into their shops and seeing their neighbors, and it is a locals and a participatory event, but it's a lot more vibrant. So I'm just wondering if there's a way to do that, and then, I'd be happy to promote that and use our promotional tools to make that happen, and to encourage our Chamber members to be open and to participate in these events.
Thank you, Ms. Crawford. Any further board discussion?
Jennifer, I just had a question. You speculated that the city was going to stop grants to some degree next year.
I'm not speculating it, but it is money that the council decides on. So they increased it this year. We can't guarantee they're going to increase that every year, especially with the city looking financially at hard dollars and what they need to do for the city. So I don't know.
Okay, thank you. I just want to make a point that we're in a good economy. People are out there spending money. If the city didn't contribute in future years, these would be very hard meetings if we didn't have these dollars to contribute to these events.
I totally agree.
That's a very good point, Stephen. And I think we're all very thankful for the city for contributing, and we know we're all in this together. Much to Mr. Don's point there, and I think we all agree this event has the potential to have tremendous greater success as it moves forward. The Vinoc market, the Christmas market up there at the Cambria Pines Lodge in Cambria is a phenomenal success because it's a unique Christmas holiday event, and done effectively. The Light Up Parade does have the potential to do the same for us, and an event planner, I think, is absolutely a critical piece in organizing this more professionally and effectively doing a SWOT analysis and determining the best avenues to take to grow it. The subcommittee did make a recommendation. Is there any further discussion from the board? If there's no further discussion, we'll be looking for a motion. I have not heard anybody really contest the numbers from the subcommittee or the allocation of dollars.
Yeah, I like the event. I want an event planner to make it easier to have the event every year and have it more efficient. I like the idea of cash prizes. I disagree with the goal that we're presenting to this event planner, because an event planner is a contractor. It's like buying a ninja. So what is the ninja's job? You know what I mean? It's like, what are...
I haven't bought a lot of ninjas, so you'll have to elaborate. Forgive me.
Well, that's what I mean. You're buying a contractor to do a specific thing. What is their job? Is their job to build the event to get people from Bakersfield? Is their job to build the event to get a bunch of millennials? Is their job to build the event to get a bunch of birders? You know what I mean? So what is their job? Are we presenting it to them, hey, we're buying you, and we want you to build this event into a 10,000-person, 2-day, 3-day event? I disagree. I'm not voting on that as a positive. But if you pitch it in a different way, I would vote for it. And so that's what I'm saying. I don't want to see a buy event planner and us spend money and have their job be to make this the first year of a goal of making this 20,000 person event. I don't.
So the event planner, Taylor, will be, Dawn and myself together will put together an RFP that'll go out, and it'll be very specific on what we expect this person to do. We will outline exactly what it is, what the budget is for this contract. Most likely it'll be a Morro Bay person or somebody close by in the county, and that's how it'll proceed. It won't be, here, take this event and go run with it. I mean, and each one of these event planners is going to be very specific on what we need for that event. It's not very black and white. We've got to really tailor them each.
Just like a ninja. Yes. Do we have a motion is on the table, or is there further discussion that should be had?
Again, I think that the event should grow organically with the event planner to assist making it maybe not so much a bigger event with 20,000 people, but a better event, a quality event with more local flavor and more local boats. So I'd like to make a motion to do the $5,000 grant with a $4,000 event planner for the Lighted Boat Parade.
As it's stated in the staff recommendation?
As it's stated in the recommendation.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Green. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Seeing none, motion passes 5-0, $9,000. Board, this is an important... Our topics here, we want to finish this up. I just want to point out it is after 11 a.m. Are we all still good to wrap this up? Now, there's further things on the agenda. Depending on our timetables, we may not get to the logo, which I do not consider to be, unless Ms. Little feels to the contrary, the logo is not a time-sensitive issue at all. Okay. Are we all good to hang and just wrap these up? Okay. Does anybody need a bathroom break? No? All right. Next item. 12 Days of Christmas. This dovetails right in with the Light a Boat Parade. New event. Last year, no dollars were allocated. It is, as Jen noted, possibility to be an emerging opportunity. Subcommittee is recommending up to a $7,000 grant. And is there any public comment on the 12 Days of Christmas event?
Make it short.
I'm going to make it real short. I'm just going to say I think it's an amazing event, and I think Sophia at Poppies did an incredible job pushing it forward, and that's it.
Thank you. Staff discussion on the recommendation?
Yeah, can you just summarize what this event is again?
Absolutely. So last year, the owner of Poppy's store down on the Embarcadero, she took this on her own. And she went door to door to everybody and got everybody on board to do just things going on the Embarcadero and in downtown every single night, first 12 days of December. She did a great job. She put her own money towards it, which, God bless her, but, that's not really the accurate way to do it. She wants to do it again. I recommended that she applies for a grant because I see we need to do something. So our town, Sean, there's nothing happening at Christmas. It's really depressing to come to Morro Bay. There's there's not consistent lights, there's no excitement, and she's really making an effort to do something about that. This is a case where it absolutely needs an event planner. So I appreciate what she did last year. She's on board with an event planner. She agrees that that's where it needs to go to make this a quality event. Additionally, I spoke with her, and she has got set up with the Friends of the Harbor Department, so they are going to run the event under their 501c, so that is resolved as well. So I would like to see this move forward, definitely.
And does this start on the weekend of the 9th, 10th, as noted? And is that the same weekend as the Light of Boat Parade?
So her grant, she was just trying to promote the 9th and the 10th.
Okay.
What I'm recommending is she needs to promote the entire 12 days. So that's the difference. That's why you're seeing the 9th, 10th. That was her grant request.
Oh, understood. But she wanted to call it 12 Days of Christmas, but
Yes.
wanted the 2 days.
But the funds will go towards all 12 days.
Excellent.
I'm not going to just approve 9, 10.
And the Light of Boat Parade is the initial kickoff day, so these two dovetail
And you've got
together.
Surfboard Art Festival.
Right, a lot of things. Okay.
So theoretically, the event planner could be the same person for both of the events?
I don't know. I think we need to put out an RFP. We're awfully tight on time, so we need to see who has that open right now.
Because it seems like if we're sponsoring two events going on during the same time and we have two different event planners, it would make more sense for the events to link up. Okay.
I'm inclined to agree with Taylor's thoughts there.
Yeah.
Effectively, it is one event, $8,000 for an event planner, RFP, and here's our Christmas 12 days, kicking off with the Light of Boat Parade, which could be a 2-day event, and that could actually garner greater traction for the Light of Boat Parade, if there's something more substantial to be here for. Further discussion, board? Motion? Stephen, do you want to throw out a motion? You want to? I hate to feel you don't want to feel left out down there.
My turn.
Just go right ahead. Jump on in the deep end.
Can we tackle multiple?
Oh, just motion the whole thing away.
Right?
The rioting that could happen.
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we give $4,000 towards an event planner for the 12 Days of Christmas event and an additional $3,000 grant for a total of $7,000.
Thank you, sir. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Oppositions, abstentions, motion passes as recommended 5 unanimously. Next one on the agenda, butterflies and bubbles. This is listed as an emerging opportunity. And before we get into the details, is there any public comment?
This grant has been withdrawn. The chamber is not able to do this event this year, so it's been withdrawn
Excuse
from
me,
the
you
grant.
did state that in the cover letter. Thank you. So we will just cross this one out altogether. Not applicable. Next item, Winter Bird Festival. Good event. Is there any public comment on the Winter Bird Festival as the staff recommends? Seeing no public comment, we'll move to staff to elaborate on a recommendation.
Recommending $4,000 grant plus $2,000 towards city permit fees. Their permit fees could run up to $8,000, just so you're aware.
Thank you. Board discussion?
Great event that brings a lot of people from out of town. There's over 600 events that they do, and as 600 organized events during the Winter Bird Festival, and they sell out, every single one of them.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity for us to get a lot of folks from out of town. The birders and the twitchers have a lot of money, and they're very passionate about their birds, and so are we. So am I. And so although I should maybe not say this publicly, we're not having fireworks in Morro Bay, in our estuary, in our wild bird sanctuary. The Winter Bird Festival is just another one of our classic events, like the Harbour Festival, that brings a lot of attention to Morro Bay, where we can see over 200 species of birds during that month. I mean, it's pretty incredible. So I'm just going to tell you I love this event.
Thank you. Any further board discussion?
I love any event that's in January.
Stephen, I would second that, absolutely. Anything in the down season. I feel a motion coming on.
I make a motion to approve as recommended.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppositions, abstentions, seeing none, passes unanimously. Next item, Morro Bay High School Wrestling event, $2,750 as being recommended by staff for this event. Is there any public comment? Seeing no public comment, we'll move on to staff recommendation.
My recommendation is for the $2,750 that they are requesting. Again, this is a great event, fills a lot of hotel rooms, and it gets people out in town because they're individual wrestlers versus team.
Runs parallel to the volleyball, basketball, and so forth.
Yep.
Absolutely. Board discussion?
As all the kids are walking past my door, they're always complaining that there are no restaurants open for them. So that's something that we obviously need to improve upon. But
What time are they walking by?
6:30, 7 p.m. I mean, they're not going to Dorns. They're not going to Dockside when they're in groups of kids. But,
Right.
Anyway, that's. But if there's any discussion, I motion to approve as recommended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Unanimous. All five. And last item on the agenda here is the annual yard sale. Oh, excuse me? Oh. Okay, forgive me. Annual yard sale.
Last year we funded $3,000. I'm recommending $3,500, just a little more to offset fees as well for them.
To push it up. All right, board discussion.
Fills rooms.
Fills rooms.
Absolutely fills rooms. So my only
Two
concern,
favorite words.
Yeah, I tried to convince them to move it, and I couldn't get them to move it. Easter falls right there this year. It didn't last year. So that, I told her, I said, people are not going to have cheap rooms, and yard sailors want cheap rooms.
Yeah.
So that was my concern, and this is our weekend. So
It's a bit of an identity thing for the town, though.
absolutely, yeah, it's huge. It's a big deal.
Board discussion.
This is a no-brainer.
Motion.
Make a motion to approve as recommended.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Unanimous. $3,500. Next item on the agenda. Listed as an emerging opportunity is the Morro Bay Kite Festival. $5,000 was allocated last year. Staff is recommending $4,000 in event coordinator, as well as the same $5,000 in grant, totaling a $9,000 allocation of funds. Is there any public comment on this event? Seeing no public comment, we'll move on to staff recommendation.
So talking with Mr. Farmer, he's not able to manage this event himself next year, and so it sounds like it'll probably be taken over by the tourism office to manage in-house, which I'm fine with as long as we still can do an event coordinator. I think that's a really key thing to this. He has a full-time job now. It's really difficult, and it's a great event. It's in April, so I would recommend funding it.
Thank you. Board discussion.
Dollar-wise, it seems like it's on par with some of what I would consider our huge events. How does this compare in terms of attendance and rooms, et cetera, to justify that dollar amount?
So room-wise, it pretty well sells out the town. It's in April, so it's an off-season month for us, and it does really good. Yeah, we're very happy with attendance on it.
Good question, Sean. Is there any further board discussion?
I just like the editorial that we see out of it because it really pumps up Morro Bay. It's a unique event with a lot of really wild-looking kites, and it does get press and helps us fill rooms. But I really like the pictures with the rock and the kites going by, and the professionals and the kids. And it also serves our businesses in town with the kite shops that we have, and I think it's just a great event.
Absolutely. Further board discussion? Seeing no discussion, I believe we'll be waiting for a motion.
I make a motion to approve as recommended.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Second for Mr. Yates. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Unanimous. Go fly a kite. Next on the agenda is the Morro Bay Car Show. $4,000 was given last year. This year we're upping it to $4,500 as per the recommendation of the subcommittee. Is there any public comment on the Morro Bay Car Show? Seeing no public comment, Ms. Little, would you like to elaborate on the recommendation?
So I'm just looking to offset fees again a little bit. Their total fees, talking with them on the phone, run about $4,000 this year. So I'd like to put a little bit towards that as well, give them $500 towards the permit fees on top of the grant. Great show.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
Board discussion?
I had something. I think this event it's so successful. It brings a ton of people into town. I mean, it's one of our babies. We love this event. One of the complaints you hear every single year, though, is that the way the event is designed, it makes it so that the attendees don't purchase meals in town because they have a lot of their meals sponsored. And at the event, they have food booths out on the street, so you see this event have the potential to bring retail dollars, but the way it's designed kind of goes around those retail dollars that are available. And because it's successful, because it's our baby, is there a way to tweak it a little bit to make it so that our retail businesses are more in support of the event? Because that's the only people I hear complain about this event every year, is that these retail venues that are right there at the event aren't seeing profits. And we should, if we can, let's make them profit. So how can we tweak that? If we have an opportunity to give them dollars, but make a recommendation or, a requirement, I just wish there was some way for them to tweak their model so that they could have one of those meals not covered or something. Make it so that people spend some money in town. They have the money, so let them buy lunch, let them buy dinner. Don't do the barbecue at St. Timothy's. I don't even know if you're going to get the St. Timothy's parking lot this year. So is there a way to tweak that just a little? That's my discussion.
Devil's advocate might be that one of the reasons it's such a successful turnout of car show display is because that they are comped and well taken care of when they come here. So it's a tough.
It was also a question that I asked them as well, because I had the same opinion and the same concern, and they're very adamant that if they stop doing those meals, that they will lower their total participants because they're so used to what they get.
Which is what I had heard as well. So from a commerce perspective, Taylor, I agree with you completely. I don't know, culturally speaking, if that could end up resulting in backlash. Now, could it be, diminished by 10% or something? I don't know.
Just to shoot one more opportunity, I got the TV on. So is there a way to maybe tweak some voucher system or something? So maybe some of their dollars that are invested in this could be a way to somehow give them, the people that are attending this, which is a lot of people, if you could give them a discount to go spend their money at a restaurant or something. I feel like we're at a table with our citizens and we need to help them. How can we somehow help them?
They are spilling out of the coffee shops in the morning. That's the one place where they seem to be. But it seems like some sort of activity pack, but maybe not. People aren't out there looking to rent kayaks, but they may be looking to get 10% off a piece of art or yeah.
We can set up a passport for them. I'm sure our passport was running that time for hotel guests. Maybe we just extend that and have it there in their bag when they check in, and it's restaurant passport in April. So we could do that.
Be restaurant and retail too. I mean, if you wanted to really push the merchants.
And it could somehow also promote, they could be 2-week expirations. It's not same day, something like that.
It's actually a month-long passport.
I like it. Is there any further board discussion? Seeing no discussion, there could be a motion if somebody would like to make it, and I think some of what Sean was gesturing at here was phenomenal. Would Sean like to make said motion? You said it.
Kind of stipulations. Well, I motion to approve as recommended, plus a conscious effort to market our local businesses for the same weekend and month of.
That's effectively just pushing the passport into this same timing, same marketing platform.
Essentially, I'm not, and I haven't looked at the passport in a while, so I'm not sure if the passport ties directly to the type of people that are attending the car show. If we wanted a separate approach, or we just stick with what we've got and have them coordinate. But otherwise, motion to grant funding as recommended.
Lori, do you have that in a form that we can continue to? All right. Thank you. Do we have a second on that motion?
Real quick, that made sense, Jennifer?
Yes.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Seeing no opposition, motion passes unanimous. All 5 of us. Last on the list here, recommended as being unfunded, is the Cuesta Fest. Is there any public comment on the Cuesta Fest? Seeing no public comment, we'll move on to staff recommendation.
I'm recommending to not fund it. It's a first year. I think it's going to be mainly a local event, so I'd recommend not fund it this year.
All right. Board discussion?
What is it, Jennifer?
It's a concert series that they're going to have across the street from the college. It holds like 2,000 total people. And so Mark Elderman, who's part of Mental Marketing, is on the board, and I spoke with him, and he told me, he said, I would not recommend that you take this to any TBIDs this year because you can't show hotel occupancies. So he is aware this probably will not be funded. He mentioned it to the board as well. Yeah.
That's clear. Any further board discussion? Seeing none, do we have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion not to recommend.
Thank you, Mr. Yates. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion passes 5-0.
So where we are at on total grants, just so all of you know, we approved a total of $75,225. That is $54,725 in grants plus $12,000 in emerging opportunities. So I still have a little bit of money. I'll go ahead and reopen the grants again, and we'll see if we have any new grants come in. Okay?
So 15,000 left.
Yep.
There's a few good events that could happen from that.
Absolutely.
I would like to mention that we are still working with the Maritime Museum to bring the Bill of Rights up for the Harbour Festival and for 2-week period of time. And so you may see a grant request coming, emerging grant request coming.
Excellent. Earlier, the board all agreed to postpone the 8th item on this, which is a recommendation for the new logo update. We'd like to execute that at a further date when we're not stressed for time. We will push that out to the next meeting. Last item, then, are there any declaration of future items? Anybody like to see something on an agenda in the future? Seeing no declarations?
I'm interested in knowing more about what the event planners that we're looking at, like, this is a new thing we've been talking about for so long, and I'd like to know, what is our pool of event planners? What type of event planners are we looking for? What are the goals we're presenting to our event planners? I want to know more about our ninjas.
So effectively, that is going to be when Ms. Little receives the RFPs back, we'll know what the pool of candidates are and can vet them accordingly, or vet the ninjas. All right. Any future items? Seeing none, we will call the meeting adjourned. It is exactly 11:30 a.m. Thank you all.